the enemy within, oh, they hate this. I love it. The enemy within is still the enemy within. Do you think they're going to change? You think the Marxist jihadists are going to change? You think Bernie Sanders, Omar, Tlaib are going to change? Do you think Jamie Raskin's going to change? Do you think Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are going to change? Do you? Because they're not. That's what we're about. Educating as many people as humanly possible about the greatness of America, from the ancients to history to economics to our founding documents. We defend the founders. We defend the framers, from the Marxist professors and the jihadist activists, and we always will. We defend the patriots who are among us right now, the statesmen who are among us right now, like Donald Trump and others, but Donald Trump in particular, who's been treated like no public servant in the history of America. That's what's so amazing about this. Grover Cleveland's the only president to win 2 non-consecutive terms for the presidency. And back then, he was a Democrat, but he was more conservative than the Republicans. He was actually a pretty damn good president. Now, he had a child out of wedlock, so they were making big issues of that, but he wasn't Dougie Imhoff, slapping women around and that sort of thing. He was what he was, but it turned out he was a pretty good 2-term, unconnected terms president. I want you to look at Donald Trump. Do you know of another person in public life or period that's gone through what he's gone through? That's the other thing. Kamala Harris didn't have any skin in the game. Donald Trump had everything in the game. His liberty, his very freedom. They still want to put him in federal prison. They're trying to figure out right now as I speak, sitting around some long oval table in the Department of Injustice trying to, well, what do we do now? How do we handle this? We don't want to just throw in the towel. They're trying to figure that out in the state of New York. They're trying to figure it out in Georgia, where, by the way, Fani Willis won in a landslide. Good. They all deserve each other. But that's not the point. This is a man who's been pursued to the ends of the earth. This is a man, even if he wins on appeal on that Albany case, the Letitia James case, he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars. For what? For a phony case, for a phony law, with a phony judge and a phony prosecutor. The Manhattan case was quintessential Stalinist. Stalinist. Convicted of 34 counts. Man was charged with 91 indictments in 4 different jurisdictions. Local, state, federal. That's not an accident. That's not a coincidence. That's a police state. That's a totalitarian regime. And despite all that, you voted for him, and tens of millions of others did too. You're not buying it. We're not buying it. We're just not. And so he wins this election. This is election for you, for your children and grandchildren, for the country, and yes, for Donald Trump. This was a defeat for the Democrat Party, for the American Pravda media, for the phony tenured professors and some of their dumbass students. This was a win for those of us who believe in liberty. This was a defeat for those who are practicing tyranny. And let me put this warning signal out. They're not going to go away quietly. I love these people on TV. Donald Trump has to put out the olive branch. Donald Trump has to show how gracious he is. Donald Trump has to unite the nation. Well, maybe he can do all those things. But the enemy within, oh, they hate this. I love it. The enemy within is still the enemy within. Do you think they're going to change? You think the Marxist jihadists are going to change? You think Bernie Sanders, Omar, Tlaib are going to change? Do you think Jamie Raskin's going to change? Do you think Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are going to change? Do you? Because they're not. These are diabolical people who are always plotting. And their target will be Donald Trump more than ever. But you know what? Donald Trump has 1 term under his belt. He's not green about hiring personnel anymore. He's not green about what he's up against. And he needs to have the smartest, most courageous, most competent, brass knuckle people around him to push back. This has to be one of the most remarkable campaigns run by a Republican I've ever seen. The lawyers were all ready. Did you notice? They were filing a lawsuit after lawsuit pre-voting. It's very smart, pre-voting day. in getting these cases out and challenging and making abundantly clear that cheating wasn't going to be tolerated, because they were trying to cheat. I mean, they found stuff. There was no question about it. Even judges actually had to rule, because once the voting takes place, these judges don't want to participate. It's a dereliction of duty, but we've learned that the hard way.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.